Joe?
What are you doing?
This program.
I'm looking at the guy that has the Dayton's displays.
Right,
I saw
right in
that.
Highland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
How's
here's
Bob
something.
doing?
Here's something. Let's not do it on the air. There's a guy in Highland who was given, for some reason, the original Dayton's window displays.
Oh,
John Pahaley.
Okay. And he's restored them beautifully, and you can see them at his house.
1899 Saunders.
Shut up.
Okay.
You're resting my case.
Okay.
So Channel 5 goes out there. One of those gals, if you said her name, I'd know it. She news reporter, and they did a story on this guy. They never once told where it is. In other words, the whole story was to entice you to see this. And I understand. I wouldn't have wanted my address given out either. But why do the story? That's my question. Why'd you do the story?
that was a Jimmy bit. He had a big Christmas display.
Jimmy's bit was he was angry that people were looking at it.
That's right.
Lou, the crabby lights guy.
Lou, yeah.
Chris, you got to round that up. Let's play that this morning.
Out in Maple Grove, Lou set up, and he was livid that people would look at this.
Come by and look at
I
it.
set this up for my own kid.
Buses coming by, limousines.
Yeah.
Joe, we are rolling.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1445, a very important edition. Friday the 13th, December 13th, 2024. That never bothered me, that whole Friday the 13th deal. So what? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
53 degrees was the record high. That was in 1891, and it was 21 below on the morning of 1917.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
At the end of yesterday's show, we got into a bit of a memory problem because I couldn't remember the drive-in in Mahtomedi.
Right.
The fountain.
The fountain.
And then Scott Matura sent me the Three Seasons.
Three Seasons was
Why
on
is that ringing a bell? Wasn't that down on 7th Street?
Montreal and 7th Street.
Yeah.
Later owned by the Gallus family in St. Paul.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Montreal and 7th. What's there now?
Oh, a credit union and a doctor's office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe just a doctor's office.
Three Seasons was pretty damn good.
Of course.
Yeah.
When you ask what's there now in St. Paul, I don't know. Probably nothing.
No, I did know, though, Chris. I was able to tell you what's there now.
Right away.
That was very, you know what that was? That was insensitive of me to say that about
This
your
is
sister.
an interesting show. The play story in today's Minnesota Star Tribune is State sues Glock over gun conversion switch. Then the second play story, I would have made the play story, but the second play story is FBI raids 2 state autism centers. And what we learn is that it's, feeding our future 2.0. Federal search warrant says they're investigating autism centers, including several created by people involved in the Feeding Our Future federal fraud case. The Sahan Journal reports that the 2 clinics cater to Eastern African clients. And you'll recall that as a group, we discussed this in mid-July. A child had unfortunately drowned. A Somali kid got out of the apartment and drowned. And this unleashed an outpouring of insistence by many in the Somali community that they were suffering their children were suffering disproportionate numbers of autism cases, and
they needed their own Somali autism centers. The regular ones we already have weren't good enough or weren't functioning for them properly, something like that.
Well, exactly. And what we began to do, it was exactly mid-July. We're going to play you something in a moment. We laid it all out. We handed it to the Walz administration on a silver platter. Here is your next fraud. It's right in front of your eyes. You can nip this in the bud.
And wasn't this right around the time where he was nominated for the vice president?
I don't know, when did he go on the road pretending to be important? When was that?
Waving with both hands?
Yeah. The second part of my astonishment today, I'll get back to us, is below the fold on the Star Tribune is yet another obsequious, fawning story about Walz. The headline being, Walz wants to remain a force in state and national politics. Okay, you've got this, I don't know who lays out the paper, but this is somewhat embarrassing in my estimation.
August 21st was Walz.
When he went out on the road?
That was one of the first stories, yeah.
Okay.
Above the fold, you've got FBI raids 2 state autism centers for yet more fraudulent behavior committed under the Walz watch. And below the fold, you have yet another one of your fawning praises of Walz. You look ridiculous. I don't know who sits in the slot and lays out the front page, but it might have dawned on somebody. Excuse me.
Perfect.
It might have dawned on somebody. Maybe we should either delay the Walz praise story or stick it in another part of the paper, because your main story is more fraud considered performed under the Walz. Now, on July 11th, we listened to some shows before this show started today. On July 11th, we laid this all out.
Wait, I have to say something because since you just mentioned it. Oh, I'm sorry.
July
I'm sorry,
11th.
I'm sorry, Chris. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. That's okay. Let me cue it back up.
I didn't hear.
Is everyone done coughing now? Is everyone done talking
I hope
now?
so.
Has everyone got it out of their system now?
Yeah.
All right.
Because you have to distract these kids somehow.
You have to do something. Yep, exactly.
Do you recall it was only with...
Start over. Do you want some water, for real?
Wait, just stop everything. Joe, you said it should be buried in the back of the paper right before you went to the audio. Buried in the back of the paper is a tiny little Walz story. Headline, Walz calls for tougher Medicaid fraud penalties as costs rise.
Thank you.
So there's actually 2 stories.
I'm sorry for the coughing. We're trying to tell you that we called this shot on July 11th.
Because you have to distract these kids somehow.
You have to do something. Yep, exactly.
Do you recall it was only within the last 2 weeks we speculated that the untold millions of dollars that will be devoted to a Somali autism programs might be held in suspicion,
Right.
given the nature of the fraud that the Walz administration continues to preside over. Well, yesterday in the Star Tribune, we learned this. Investigators are examining potential Medicaid fraud among Minnesota autism services, and state lawmakers say they will consider licensing the providers, whose numbers have increased dramatically. The Minnesota Department of Human Services has 15 active investigations into organizations or individuals providing autism services and has closed 10 other cases. The investigations were first reported by the Reformer, which wrote last month that the FBI is looking into fraud by autism service providers. Now, is our governor on top of this? do you
I'm
think?
sure. Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
well, unfortunately, you might be wrong. Governor Tim Walz said yesterday that he's not aware of an FBI investigation. I sometimes feel that none of this can be happening. None of this is real. How can this? I'm not aware of this fraud, said Walz, but he's concerned about the allegations of fraud, but he's unaware of an FBI investigation. And then he says, these services are life-changing for people with autism, especially children. That's why it's so important to make sure every dollar spent on services is accounted for. Is he a sociopath, do you think? What? The state created a medical benefit about a decade ago for young people with autism spectrum disorder and related conditions. The number of people receiving the early intensive developmental and behavioral intervention benefit and the providers getting paid has climbed sharply in recent years, as have the dollars flowing to those providers. The providers offer therapy and services. The benefit program is intended to educate and support families of people with autism and help individuals be more independent. Okay, great. That's important. There are 328 providers in the state. That's up from 41 providers.
Oh, wait, as recently as when?
That is a
2018.
jump.
Oh, it's almost like these.
Is this real?
It's almost as if someone said, "Hey, we got a good gig going here."
Wait, tell me that number again. Up. It was
There are
originally what?
328 related. Pause this. I took those figures and on July 14th wrote the following. Most recently, we learned that the FBI is investigating potential Medicaid fraud among Minnesota autism service providers. According to the Department of Human Services, there were 328 autism-related service providers in Minnesota in 2023, up from 41 providers in 2018. And the money, which continues to slip through increasing numbers of hands, the DHS last year paid autism service providers $192 million, you ready, up from $6 million in 2018.
Wow.
The governor, when asked about potential Medicaid fraud, said he was not aware of an FBI investigation. Now you can pick that up again if you want. That's up from 41 in 2018. And this is according to the Department of Human Services.
So 82 would be 100%.
Yeah,
right?
but I haven't gotten to the fun part yet, Kenny.
That's
John,
an increase
Chris.
of. Well, that's a lot. That's
Well, here you go.
3,000%.
It can't be right, Chris.
The amount the providers were paid also has bumped up a little during that time, from $6 million to $192 million.
Wow.
And Walls is unaware that the FBI is looking into it.
Oh, I'm sure he's so busy.
Unaware.
He's just busy. He's feeding kids right now, Joe. He's busy.
The state has withheld payments to 7 autism service provider organizations since 2018, according to DHS. 5 of those were withheld for credible fraud allegations. DHS said another payment was denied because the provider failed to follow DHS access to records, and one was withheld to protect the public welfare and in the best interests of Minnesota health care programs. So since 2018, DHS here, pretending to be vigilant, tell us that they've withheld payments to 7 providers, as the number of providers has increased to 328.
So that means they're down to 321 that they're still paying, if I'm doing the math right, which is still an increase from the 41 we had 6 years ago.
Now take it down again.
What's your source here?
Then I've continued. It is not plausible that autism care requires 3,000% more in funding in less than 5 years. Nor is there evidence that a 700% increase in providers was anticipated. According to the Minnesota Autism and Development Disabilities Monitoring Network at the University of Minnesota, anybody in the Walls administration could have made the same phone call. According to the Minnesota Autism and Developmental Disabilities Monitoring Network at the University of Minnesota, 1 in 34 children has autism spectrum disorder in Minnesota. Data show no recent spike in that number, and yet Walls is not aware that the FBI is investigating the potential fraud and has been since June. It's the food fraud 2.0.
Yeah, part 2. Yep.
And we called it in mid-July, and no one in the Walls administration probably listens to the show. And if people did listen to the show, they certainly made a choice to not pay any attention to it, which that's not surprising, I guess. Who's going to count on a little podcast to be alerted to something? But we're right back with the same problem we faced with the food fraud. You mean to tell me that in all of those employees in the Department of Human Services, nobody scratched their head and said, how come we all of a sudden have 3,000 autism providers? What the hell happened? How come? No, I'm sorry. How come we all of a sudden have 328 autism providers? Well, just 4 years ago, we had 41 providers. How come no one scratched their head when they said, the DHS, we're paying out $192 million, but 4 years ago we were paying $6 million. No one
Why wasn't
got
there
up from their chair and walked over to a superior or something and said, "Hey, Fred, does this make sense?"
Especially given that this was in the wake of the food fraud. You would think that
You would be on double secret alert.
you would think once that surfaced, everyone would be on high alert, saying, "We better start checking everything here."
And all the new autism centers, are they all Somali?
Yes. The ones being investigated certainly are. I'm aware of empty storefronts that are being examined.
And I remember at the time, and I think the event, it was a kid in Hopkins, right? And didn't he end up in Minnehaha Creek?
That's what started the conversation.
That's what started all of this?
Yes, the child
And I
wandered
remember
away.
reading at the time that there's some sort of parental shame surrounding autism in your children if you're a Somali, and that's why they said they need their own autism centers. The ones we had weren't good enough or fitting the bill for them. You guys remember
yes,
that?
exactly. Remember it. And,
Yeah.
And you, as you're hearing on a podcast on July 11th, we handed this we did, the reformer did, many people did, but we handed this on a silver platter to the Walz administration.
Here's how they got found out. When this all started a few years ago, I guarantee you that there's a local FBI team that their job, all they do, now I don't know this, I'm speculating, all they do is keep one eye trained on everything Minnesota does. I guarantee you. That's how they found this out. Maybe they listen to you, maybe not.
Having a governor like Walz means you have a governor apparently so uninterested in the nuts and bolts of governing and minding our purse that even when extraordinary frauds are discovered, it's just business as usual.
See, is this Hanlon's razor? Is this Walz being stupid? Or is this Walz being nefarious? It seems to me that he has somehow opened the door for all of this fraud.
Well, no one's accusing Walz of stealing money.
I should rephrase that. Minnesota has opened the doors for stealing and fraud.
But the lack of curiosity is astonishing. First with food, then with autism. Where are the people supposedly working on behalf of the state of Minnesota?
Well, let me read this quote from you. I told you about this little piece buried in the paper, and it's Walz's response, and he wants tougher Medicaid fraud penalties. Quoting the governor, "This pisses me off unlike anything else. They're stealing from us. You've got to increase the penalty on these crimes. These are crimes against children, in my opinion." So I'm asking him, how is increasing the penalties going to stop anything?
It's not.
No, not at all, Joe.
I suppose this is the point in the story where we're supposed to say, well, not all Somalis are thieves.
Right.
Okay, you're right. Not all of them are.
He also said, we're catching these people. They're going to prison. I don't think they're going long enough. Great, if you're going to give them bigger penalties, that's just fine. Why don't you close the door so the opportunity for fraud doesn't exist?
Well, in mid-July, there was an opportunity to close the door. And not only was that ignored, they didn't even know it was open.
It was like the garage door opener.
Right. Forgot to
Throw
close
those
the
doors
door
open.
last night.
Yeah.
It's truly, we are so poorly served. We're way beyond stages of hyperbole. This governor is proving to be a failure in virtually everything he touches, including the people he hires. And yet today, you've got a publisher. Now, I'm not suggesting the publisher of the Tribune, Steve Grove, goes into the newsroom and says, I want my daily puff piece about walls. I do not think that happens at all.
Oh, I do.
I don't. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
But the tone has been set that these stories appear. And again, today, it was just a technical embarrassment. You were inevitably going to run the story about walls, hoping to continue to have some national presence, but you put it in the wrong space. You look like morons. Put it in an inside page or wait till Sunday when more people could even read it.
Next week.
Yeah. These are, and don't make any mistake, these are Walz's people. This is his administration.
Under his watch.
This is his deal. And he's failing miserably.
Well, because he's got his eye on the national stage.
My God, this country rejected you, Walz, and I hope to God they would again. You're not fit for anything.
He doesn't get that, though. He's ready for the next challenge. He wants to remain a force. I love this quote under the photo of him sitting there, wringing his hands.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, people were going to vote for Trump. Well, it's because you were the wrong candidate.
Right. Walz, your next challenge should be to end the fraud. You have no national challenge. You could go a long way towards redemption in starting to accept responsibility and cleaning house. We're stuck with you for 2 more years. How much more money are you going to allow to be blown?
Has a losing politician ever said, I was the wrong candidate?
God,
they didn't.
no.
They didn't vote for me because I was the wrong candidate.
No.
Nobody's ever said that in the history of politics. Has it?
Any losing candidate, Kenny, has just said, I really shouldn't have went on GL.
What? No. They always blame the voters who voted for the winning candidate.
Did you guys see old Timmy and Gwen decorate the Christmas tree?
I did see that. I think he had to shut up Gwen because she might have been into the sherry.
She having a few hot toddies.
No,
I'm going to turn the page.
Well, she said, whatever. Tim decided to say that. That's enough. That's enough.
Do they have little...
She started like Christy McDonough in This Is Happiness, set in Ireland in 1958. She suddenly burst into song.
Here we go.
Oh, Dad got it on there. Joy to the world.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Do you suppose they have little Christmas ornaments of burning buildings and tires on fire?
God help me, they might. Honest to God.
Joy to the world. Okay, that's enough.
Thank you.
But she kind of had that Google-eyed look, like, why are you telling me to be quiet?
Well,
How
because
dare
you're
you.
3 sheets there, Gwen.
No, we don't
Get in
know
the
that.
closet.
That's true.
Cuckold.
You know what?
You
That's
don't
wrong
know
of me
that.
to say that.
You
I'm going to
don't
give
know
myself
that.
this.
We don't
You
know
don't know that at all. That's
Joy to the
very unkind. She just, not a good
You
singer.
know what? She was festive.
Commenter on YouTube brought something up. We forgot about the child care fraud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got to throw that in there, too.
I haven't forgotten about it, Kenny. There's so many.
He's got the scorecard at home. He just left it at home.
You need to turn, you know what you need to do with your scorecard? It's turn the page.
Yeah.
You know what?
Run out of room.
You know what? On July 11th, when we laid this all out, we had yet to know what we know today about Walz. This was just prior to his selection as the VP candidate.
That's right.
Right? And now that you know what you know about Walz, it's even less surprising that the frauds continue.
Correct.
Yeah.
And this holiday season, don't forget.
Oh, Dad got it on there. Joy to the world.
All right.
All right.
And
More
she was,
mix.
she was placing something atop the tree. As like a Bert and Ernie
Angel?
doll or
Oh.
something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Mama Bear's empty.
More tomato juice, less vodka.
What it was.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, she could be riding through the living room on a bike or something, you know.
Joy to the world.
Speaking of bikes.
What do you got, Joe?
Well, there's time to get out to EcoFun before Christmas. What a great shopping destination that would be. Yamaha has just reduced all 2025 snowmobiles up to $2,000 each because Yamaha's not going to make snowmobiles anymore, but they sure as hell will continue to service them forever at EcoFun. These are the final edition sleds. They have 20 sleds in stock, including two-person sidewind. All I need is land, and I'd buy everything he sells.
Yep.
They got Yamaha electric bikes in stock. They've had a wonderful sale on those, but you can still take advantage of it. You can get a Yamaha road bike electric for $999. That includes a 5-year warranty. Youth ATVs and dirt bikes are in stock. Honest to God, I need some land. 70 motorcycles and 100 scooters in stock. Youth recreational equipment, helmets, apparel, a great service department. You can pick from the list, and it's just amazing. That was for me to read. You can pick from the list to talk about during the ad. Well, that's what I'm doing.
Exit stage left.
See, you put something in front of me, I'm going to read it all.
Exit stage left.
Tim Bloom runs a hell of a good ship out there, and they're easy to find. It's right on 97, Highway 97, immediately west of 35 in Forest Lake / Columbus, and down in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42. It's the most fun stuff you're going to find, and a great website at ecofunmotorsports.com.
Music shows.
See how
Okay,
easy
Kenny.
it is?
Best music shows anywhere.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
I'm just out fishing for a little Joe Souchere. He's biting on every hook you throw at him. GLers keep those cards and letters coming. Well, I guess they're emails these days. The Seafoam Works emails, particularly about Seafoam Deep Creek. We've been getting a lot of them as of late, and I love reading them. I love hearing about new ways to use Deep Creek. We all use it to revive old tools. I've got a pair of pliers and a vice grip soaking in some Deep Creep right now, and that's because when I go to buy Deep Creep, I pick up 6 cans because I know that I'm going to end up filling some sort of basin with it and throwing tools in there. You know, after you pull it out of the Deep Creep, you just hit it with the wire wheel, and boom, you've got a brand new tool. It's good for cleaning firearms, fishing reels. If you got a bunch of rusty old paddle locks sitting around that you want to put to use, put it in there. Speaking of padlocks, they're great in the winter when they always freeze up. You know, it's hot, it's cold, it's raining, it's snowing. Next thing you know, you can't get that dang thing open. Just soak it down with Deep Creep, and it will fight off the ice and the rust and everything else. It loosens rusty parts. It cleans, it protects, it lubricates, and it resists evaporation. It's the best thing on the market, better than any other product on the market, that's for sure. And you can find it anywhere that fine automotive chemicals are sold. It's right there in the aisle. Look for it. Brand new can, actually. It's the GLer's best friend in the home and the shop, and just another fine product from our best friends at Seafoam. It's called Deep Creep.
At this time of year, I always look at the Sunday NFL schedule, hoping to find a good weather game.
Oh, sure.
But I just noticed, do you know tomorrow a school called Incarnate Word? You ever hear of that?
I think I have.
Incarnate Word is at South Dakota State in the FCS playoffs. Incarnate Word. That must be that's an interesting name for a school. In any event,
Cardinals football, Incarnate
where
Word.
are they?
San Antonio,
I'll
Texas.
be darned. Is it a Jesuit school, I wonder?
I don't know, but are they a Division I AA school?
I don't know. Let's stop that right now. We're
Okay.
not going to Rain Man that.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go on to tell you that apparently the weather is forecasting a bomb cyclone for the East Coast. And my only hope in that regards for a game would be Pittsburgh at Philadelphia, the late game Sunday. Now, but we got thinking of our old friend Frankie McDonald.
Yes.
And he's still out there doing weather forecasts.
Right.
And I think you're going to address this.
This is Frankie McDowell, my own TV station, live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Major storm is headed towards Vancouver Island on Friday, December 13th, 2024. Winds are going to be really strong in Victoria, British Columbia. That can knock out power. It's going to bring lots of rain in, especially in the coastal areas of Vancouver Island, west coast of Vancouver Island, Tofino, British Columbia. It's going to bring a lot of rain in west coast of Vancouver Island.
Okay.
It's going to bring really strong winds, knocking out power west coast of Vancouver Island as well, including Port Rifle,
Frankie.
British Columbia, Sauk, British Columbia, Victoria, British Columbia, Saanich, British Columbia, Colwood, British Columbia, Duncan, British Columbia, Ladysmith, British Columbia,
Frank.
Nanaimo, Parksville, Quimicon Beach, Port Arboni,
Frankie.
Tofino, Courtney, Comox, Cable
He's
River,
not leaving any
Port
stone
Reveal,
unturned,
Port Hardy,
is he?
British Columbia. Winds are going to be really strong. That's going to cause a lot of wind-driven rain, sideways rain.
Well,
There'll be
okay,
big waves
Frank.
crashing on beaches, shores.
Stop, Frankie.
Okay.
Maybe the bomb cyclone's on the West Coast. I thought it was the East Coast. Now you got a night game Sunday, Green Bay at Seattle.
Oh, boy.
That could be facing some weather because there's somewhat of an open roof in the Seattle
It's like
ballpark.
what do you call it? It's a
Whatever.
It's a shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Frankie, does Frankie have any warning? Does he make a warning sound for anything?
In investigating, because it's been a while. It's as the kids would say, it's been a minute since
Yeah.
we've been on Frankie's page.
Yeah,
Don't
we
say
haven't
that.
talked to our friend Frankie forever.
But he does apparently want to prepare people for various storms. He also issued this in April of 2024 because apparently the Vancouver area was under the threat
Is Frankie living out that way?
Yeah,
'Cause
that's where he's from.
No, he's a Nova Scotia guy.
What did I
Yeah,
say?
he's up by Oak Island.
He's up in he's in the northeast.
Okay, then I stand corrected. But he apparently that area was going to be hit by tornadoes.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, let's do a tornado siren, including countries that don't even speak English.
What the?
Holy shit, a tornado's coming.
He's doing his own warning.
Is that a?
That's Frankie.
It's a siren.
Yes.
I think what we should do,
Frankie, you're
we
the
should
best.
keep that siren
Yeah.
in the event that we do have
A tornado?
Because again, when people are looking for breaking weather news, they come to a podcast.
Right. Rewind it again. Rewind it again.
Yeah.
Have you been to his YouTube page? Is that where you're getting
Chris
this?
did.
I was there for.
Chris, it looks like he's doing public social commentary now.
Yeah.
He is. We're not going to play
We're
that.
not going to play any of that. But Ken, I'm glad you mentioned that
I bet you are.
because I think
I bet you are.
he had some. He also had some thoughts, Joe, because you brought this up yesterday.
Yeah.
About things in the air. I think it was drones in New Jersey.
I'm bringing it up right now again.
Well, Frankie might have some things to say about that as well.
All right.
Hey everybody, let's do a helicopter sound.
He's better than the guy in Police Academy.
Okay, thank you, Frankie.
I'm going to have to numb you first.
A long helicopter
Wow.
sound.
How long does that go on? 10, 20 minutes?
About 4.5 minutes on loop.
Wonder what kind of lift it can get on that chopper there.
White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby claimed yesterday that many of the reported drone sightings spotted over New Jersey are actually lawfully operated manned aircraft. Many.
Yeah.
Not all.
A lot of air
Many.
traffic today.
Many reported drone sightings in New Jersey over the past several weeks. They're actually lawfully operated manned aircraft. White House of
Could you send that? Hey, Chris, send that to me because I want to run that under my traffic reports on my talk.
We're up here. We're airborne.
Hold on. Let's practice. Put it up. Let me see.
Okay, cue the talent in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, it's Kenny. Your eye in the sky here on My Talk 107.1. Looking at westbound 94, nothing but bumpers and brake lights from Highway 61 into the Capitol Interchange. That run down the Midway is going to cost you a couple of extra minutes as you approach 280. Oh, but it's free flowing over the Dartmouth and into Minneapolis. That's your traffic.
Kenny, the best part of
Can
what
I was in the middle. Of
I know.
something.
Well, but I was providing beyond
Nobody
No, I
was
understand.
the drone
I understand.
footage.
I understand.
Kenny, but if you listen clearly, you can tell exactly when the sound effect.
Well, he runs out of breath.
He runs out of breath.
Yes. That
God
engine has
love
a
you,
miss,
Frankie.
Such.
Huh?
It's got a miss.
Yeah, the helicopter's got a miss.
It's missed.
One of the plug wires is
Just a
shorting
minute, I gotta
out.
fix this.
Oh, I knew the helicopter one would get you guys.
Questions and frustrations continue to mount among residents and lawmakers in New Jersey, and Kirby continues to say, don't worry about it. All right? We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national threat or have a foreign nexus, Kirby said yesterday. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources. You got to have resources.
Yep.
Gots to.
Using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Now, wait a minute. See, a lot of what Kirby says doesn't make sense. You're telling me, on the one hand, that they're did he say lawful? Yes, they're lawfully operated manned aircraft. But now you're telling me you need to understand their origin. In other words, you don't know what they are. Then how do you know they're lawfully? Well, you know how they know they're lawfully manned? Apparently, they use the correct red and green lights that are required in in the airplane world. They have red and green lights. But how come it's been reported by many sources that when you try to get close to one to take a picture of it, they go dark? Wouldn't that suggest something that would pique your curiosity?
Very much.
So on the one hand, our government, what do we mean by that? You know, the government knows what these are. What do we mean by the Pentagon? the mayor of Ashtabula? What do we mean? Because the government is telling us, don't worry about it. We've got no evidence of anything. These are lawful. They got the correct lights. But we don't understand their origin.
It's whoever develops the technology. The skunk works. I mean, is it McDonnell Douglas, Boeing, those people?
And then when they say manned aircraft, does that mean people are in them, do you think?
That's generally what that means.
Because it would be unmanned.
Otherwise, yeah.
Well, who's in them? And if it's Costco inventing some sort of new home delivery system, why not tell us?
Right.
I think you're playing right into their hands.
Whose hands?
Their hands.
Costco or the government?
The government.
Well, how am I playing into their hands?
You're asking all the wrong questions.
In other words, I'm asking the right questions.
I think you're asking all the wrong questions.
Well, give me an example of a correct question.
When are you going to use this technology against us?
He's not wrong.
When will this require a warning from, a warning that it's no longer safe? These drones are considered to be a threat.
Hey everyone, let's do a tornado siren, including countries that don't even speak English.
What?
Wow.
Did you hear what he said?
Countries
These
that
are
don't
warnings
speak
for
English.
countries that don't even speak English.
Is he wrong?
No.
Is he wrong?
Can we be serious about this for a moment?
What was the spy plane that Gary, what the hell is
U-2.
Okay, and then after that, we have all the radar-defeating fighter jets and bombers that we used over Iraq, right? This is the process. Thank you, John. Stealth. This is the process we use. So we're going to see these in action in 5-10 years from now. They're being developed right now.
Okay, Mr. I'm very calm about this, and there's, you people that I'm talking to, Kenny talks to, are just too stupid to understand it. Let me weigh in here. Let me weigh in here.
Okay, Kenny.
I keep telling you, something's going to happen. Now, why are the same things appearing over Oregon?
Well,
that's the latest wrinkle.
Another testing facility.
Vancouver?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay, guys.
Okay, I've heard this. I've heard this.
Who's based in Seattle? Is it Boeing or is it
Boeing
McDonnell
is in
Douglas?
Seattle.
Yeah,
Boeing.
so that's your answer. It's Boeing.
I'd like to know what they are. And you know what I think? The government doesn't know what they are.
You don't think they
No,
know?
a lot of
knows
people.
exactly.
Lot of
Those
people.
who need
lot
to
of
know,
people.
Joe. Those who need to know.
Trump, not Trump. What was I going to say? Many people, a lot of people believe that, of course, the government knows exactly what this is, and they're just not saying.
Right.
I'm on the side of I think our government has revealed itself to be so idiotic in the last 20 years. Whatever. I don't believe a damn thing about the government. Anything. I don't believe anybody in it. I don't believe anything about it. I don't believe they know what it is.
Do you think?
Well, you're referring to the naive thumbsuckers that we have to answer to. There's other people, like you said, in the Pentagon, in the military, that know exactly what's going on. Those are the people that run the country.
And I just like to know why I can't be let in on it. I feel ignored.
We're here to protect you.
You know
that's
what?
why.
You just pay your taxes and shut your mouth.
That's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Pay your taxes and shut the hell up. We're not telling you anything.
Yep.
Do you think maybe it could be a plane?
No.
Let's do an airplane sound.
It's not a plane.
This is Kenny at age 10.
Is that a helicopter now or a plane?
No, this is the plane.
I would
This is
do
the
this
plane
in the
sound
back
effect.
seat of my mom's Ford LTD just to drive her insane. Will you shut up back there?
This is the equivalent of me riding my bike up and down Fairview Avenue
Yes.
going, woo, 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 woo. Cars pulling over looking for what the hell?
The worst thing that
love
happened today was Reavers found this.
Yep.
Worst thing.
Yeah.
When I said, Joe, check this out.
Yeah. So you all don't care about the drones, okay? I'll
Well,
let
it doesn't
go.
matter if we care or not. They're not going to tell us. They know what's happening. They're not going to tell us. What's the point in worrying about it?
It's not that I'm worried. I just have endless curiosity. I find it fascinating. I'd like to know what's going on.
You like a nice drone?
I do. I do. Why don't we
You know
come
what?
back?
I'm
with John?
surprised you don't have one, to be perfectly honest. That seems like a gadget you would enjoy.
Can I tell you something? I told you before, I'm really a sucker for these gadgets that
Right.
show up on the interwebs.
What's up, sucker?
And there's an ad now where a guy's holding what looks like to be just a little cube, and it's either a camera or something. And I'm falling for it.
Uh-oh.
And so I click on that, and I'm listed 20 gadgets to buy. Hey, check this out.
Yeah.
That one isn't in the 20 they list.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
What are you going to do with a mini camera?
It
that's
just
shaped
looks
like a
neat.
cube?
Do you know what you need is the camera on the end of the bendy thing?
Yeah.
And they're allegedly, you use them to stick them down the spark plug hole, and you can
Yeah.
see what's going on in
Yeah.
your cylinder. But you can also use them to look through keyholes and under doors
Yeah.
and into windows. You could be walking around your neighborhood at night and just
Well,
hold
I'm not
that
going
thing
to
up
do that.
and
I
just
mean, that-
bend it right into the window and see what's going on in the neighbor's boudoir.
What are the Nelsons up to today? Oh, yeah.
Just doing another
You might,
flyby.
you might hear some of that, too.
Joe's in the backyard again. Just ignore him.
Denny writes that Lee Finke terribly offended him.
Oh.
Joe, as a proud member of the hip replacement community, I'm deeply offended that Lee Finke states 50% of our community regrets their hip replacement. As stated during the end of yesterday's interview, while referring to the low percentage of trans people who regret their gender reassignment procedures. In my 15 years as a member of the hip replacement community, could somebody foghorn that, please?
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to,
Yeah,
because no
you
one
have
else
to.
is paying any damn attention to anything except me. In my 15 years as a member of the hip replacement community, I've yet to meet another member who regrets their surgery. What evidence does Finke have to suggest that half the people who've had hip replacements regret their procedure? Love the show, Joe. Keep up the good work, Mayor. So, Finke, you offended the hip replacement community. Other than that, it was a wonderful. At least Finke had the guts to come in person.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Unlike a
Al
lot of
said
other
he had something
DFLers.
else, but I don't know if that would be true or not.
Right.
So
Yeah.
take the break.
Are you saying at least Finke had the... Well, the guts.
The courage.
The guts.
In reference to the camera, the bendy camera.
Yeah.
Daniel Price on YouTube said, or use it to give yourself a colonoscopy.
Oh, my God.
Rook, have you taken care of that yet?
Yeah, he did.
I'll be
Yeah, I
down
did.
there on Monday if
Yeah.
you want me to
Bring your
DIY
camera.
it.
And Kenny's going to have it mounted on his hat.
I might as well have the 6-monther, though, just to be sure, right? Bring it
Yeah.
down.
Could
Come
we
on down.
could we take a time out and go get height? Or you have something? I don't know
certainly
what's.
do. I certainly do have something. We have a lot of things going on, Joe. You know why? Because the Garage Logic online holiday auction running through Wednesday.
This isn't where you buy the shirt.
This isn't where you buy the shirt.
All
That's
right.
that's the shop. This is different. This is where you can save up to 70% off of your holiday shopping with one stop. The Garage Logic holiday online auction. It's at garagelogic.com. Keyword auction to register, view, and bid on the items. Bidding is now live and runs 1 week only, ending Thursday, December 19th. Over 60,000 items are up for auction.
60,000?
Yep, a Canadian fishing package for 4 at Fletcher Lake Lodge in Ontario.
Wow.
Well, maybe you'll run into, that's
Harold
Vancouver
McQuacker.
Island. Yeah. Also, golf lesson and 10-hour swing pass from Swing Lab. Stoked cookout packages, including barbecue pellets, fire starters, oak firewood, and a barbecue caddy. That's a value of $645. An all-inclusive spa package at the Buffalo Ridge Resort and Spa in South Dakota, value of $1,724. I'm telling you what, go to garagelogic.com, punch in keyword auction, register, view, and then bid on some of the great items. They're not all listed here. garagelogic.com.
The earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Suchi boy, you know what's taken off?
What?
Masters Maples. I got another great email. This one comes to us from Dave. Buckle up, boys. Hey, Reeves, I ordered Masters Maples bourbon-infused maple syrup for my sister-in-law, my ex-girlfriend, and my wife's old boyfriend, who all grew up on Taylor's Grove maple syrup in Lawton's near New York, in the western New York area, no longer in business, and had it shipped to Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, Virginia Beach, and Flowery Branch, Georgia, all received over Thanksgiving weekend, and raved about it on pancakes and French toast. I'm writing to you in hopes that you can tell the entire crew that I'd like to become a member and have always inquired in his Burnsville store, talking about Mike Fredoloni, but not being able to join via the Facebook friendship group. Anyway, love the shows, the Weekly Scramble, Garage Logic, and thank you so much for introducing me to Masters Maples. This is our buddy Dave G. Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking for a great holiday gift for that difficult gift giver in your life, well, talk to them about Masters Maples because it's fantastic. Ben is the creator of Masters Maples, a proud GLer. It's locally based, about 3 hours north here of the Twin Cities. And from tap to table, Masters Maples brings you 100% pure maple syrup. It's a gluten-free, natural sweetener that can be used in cooking, grilling, and glazing. It also can be turned into pure maple sugar. Simply put, Masters Maples offers the same. What's going on here?
There's nothing up there.
Well, let him finish.
Let me finish.
Masters Maple.
Masters Maples offers the best 100% pure maple syrup that Minnesota has to offer, and many other maple syrup products, like the bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup that Dave was talking about, but also the traditional pure maple syrup, maple sugar, sweet and savory seasonings and rubs. You can order your bottle of Masters Maple Syrup today and taste the difference. And for this holiday season, give your family, friends, or coworkers the gift of Masters Maples by ordering one of 4 holiday gift packs available right now at mastersmaples.com. Johnny Hyde, that's mastersmaples.com.
Thank you, Chris. The news brought to you today by North American Banking Company. More on a story we talked about earlier. FBI agents yesterday raiding 2 autism centers in Minnesota in connection with an investigation into suspected Medicaid fraud. FBI agents went through Smart Therapy Center on Nicollet Avenue in Minneapolis. A search warrant application submitted by FBI Special Agent Kurt Belke indicated agents also searched Star Autism Center in St. Cloud. The affidavit outlines a pattern of alleged fraudulent billing and claims those businesses sought hundreds of thousands of dollars in reimbursements through Early Intensive Developmental and Behavioral Intervention, a state-funded program designed to offer medical services to youths with autism spectrum disorder. The Minnesota Department of Human Services, which administers the EIDBI program, confirmed it has had open investigations into both Smart Therapy Center and Star Autism Center for some time.
John, weren't some of them making outrageous claims like they'd provided service for 17 hours in one day or something to that effect?
Yeah,
it's all fraud. We called it. You could have done something about it, but we don't have competent administration.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars of billing that was fraudulent, which you would think somebody might have noticed, but apparently not. The parents of an 18-year-old girl who was killed in a crash with a state trooper in May have filed a lawsuit in federal court against the law enforcement official, alleging wrongful death and violation over her 14th Amendment rights. Trooper Shane Roper was charged in Olmsted County in connection to the Rochester crash with 1 count of second-degree manslaughter, 5 counts of criminal vehicular operation, 1 count of reckless driving, and 1 count of careless driving. He has entered a not guilty plea in the cases. Olivia Flores died a day after the crash that Olmsted County prosecutors called a high-speed chase. They said Roper's squad was traveling at 83 miles an hour, more than twice the speed limit in the area, had its lights and sirens off when it T-boned a Ford Focus carrying Flores and her friends. Carlos and Stephanie Flores are seeking a variety of damages on behalf of their daughter in the lawsuit, which alleges 2 counts of violation of the 14th Amendment and 1 count of wrongful death. Hennepin County Board, we haven't talked about them yet with the budget this year, but they also dealt with the budget this week. They approved their 2025 budget of $3.10 billion yesterday. The budget includes a net property tax levy of $1.1 $8.05 billion, a 5.5% increase from 2024.
Goodness.
The county states the budget is focused on disparity reduction, climate action, and improving education, employment, health, housing, income, justice, and connectivity.
No.
County Board Chair Irene Fernando said, "We are committed to supporting our Hennepin County residents and making sure their critical needs are met. It's particularly important," she continued, "that we bolster our safety net healthcare system for the health and safety of the entire community."
Fernando's the one who has working for her the guy who was cheering on Luigi.
Mm-hmm. Fernando.
But if you see Fry's statement, I don't know if you have that, John. God
This
bless
is the county.
This
This
is
is the
county.
county.
Oh, this
with
isn't the city council.
This is the county.
This is the county.
Okay, all right.
The approved budget provides a 4% salary adjustment and merit increases for eligible employees for each of the next 3 years. The capital part of the budget came in at $568 million, which is $116 million more than the 2024 budget. It includes investment in infrastructure like roads, transportation, and buildings. The board approved the budget after more than 10 months of preparations and hearings.
What's connectivity mean? They say they're going to spend money on
the internet, perhaps.
No, I don't think that's
No?
what it means. No, because you're in the metro area, they're already on the internet.
That I do
I wonder
not
what
know.
it means. Something
are
that
all-
can't be measured for
The
achievement.
state
all-
or extent of being connected or
Well, I know what the
interconnected.
word means.
No,
Computing is the capacity for the interconnection of platforms, systems, and applications.
So are all areas of Hennepin County, even the outlying areas, do they have high-speed internet?
I
I would
thought-
assume that's about. You know what? Stories like that enrage me, and the reason they enrage me is your fault, Joe. I want to go back to the days where I didn't give one single tinker's damn about how money was spent.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I bring that up is I sent you an email. Actually, I forwarded you an email early today
It's right here.
about rethinking I-94.
Why are we spending the money?
And that's what I've been thinking about it ever since. Why are we going through all this nonsense about rethinking I-94 when we all know I-94 needs to stay the same between downtown St. Paul and downtown Minneapolis, right? So why are we spending all this money? And then I started thinking, well, what would we be spending it on anyway? And do we have any say on how MnDOT spends our money?
10 alternative programs are under evaluation for rethinking I-94.
And not one of those are adequate. Leave it the hell alone.
Yeah, you have to.
Here, I've got the figure right here, Joe. I keep it right next to my desk because it always makes me so mad. 114,000 to 16,700 travel on 94 daily between Minneapolis and St. Paul. The only rethinking you should be doing is adding more lanes.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Johnny, I'm sorry
I
that
think
you
I
were
like your
interrupted.
tone today, bud.
Why does that? And the reason that makes me mad is because I work with Joe. I want to go back to the days
Yeah.
where I didn't care.
So do I.
I still don't
We
care.
all do.
30 years and I still don't care.
Kenny, please don't yell at me, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
A story that's been
Sorry.
around now for a while. We have not talked about it. The wife of a Wisconsin kayaker who faked his own drowning so he could leave her and their kids and meet a woman in Eastern Europe filed court documents yesterday seeking to end their marriage.
Undefeated.
Online court records indicate Emily Borgwart filed a petition in Dodge County Circuit Court seeking a legal separation from Ryan Borgwart. According to the petition, the marriage is, in her words, irretrievably broken. A woman who answered the phone at the office of her attorney, Andrew Griggs, on Thursday said he would have no comment. The separation petition states that the couple has been married for 22 years and Emily Borgwart wants sole custody of their 3 teenaged kids. The document adds that Emily works at a private school in Watertown. Ryan is listed as self-employed and currently residing at an unknown address. A hearing in this case has been set for April. The 45-year-old Ryan Borgwart was reported missing August 12th after he told his wife the night before he was kayaking on Green Lake, about 100 miles northwest of Milwaukee. His disappearance was first investigated as a possible drowning, but subsequent clues, including that he obtained a new passport just 3 months before he disappeared, led investigators to speculate he faked his death to meet up with a woman he had been communicating with in Uzbekistan.
Oh, gross.
Is that some kind of Eastern
Yeah,
thing?
give me your cartoon bubble of this gal.
She got
She's
the bad.
She's got a soup duster.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Couple chin hairs.
John, you're right. We didn't talk about it, but I've been reading about it since
Yeah,
August.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
How do you break the news to the teenage kids?
Well, that's
Mom,
that's
what happened to Dad? Well,
But Chris, that's where it gets sad and depressing. Can you imagine, number one, doing that to your kids and the damage this is damage that's going to take forever, a lifetime of therapy.
well, plus
to
when the
cure.
kids finally calm down, they're going to say Uzbekistan,
Right, and that's probably
Romania, maybe.
That's what the wife did first. Is she did a little research on who is this gal from Uzbekistan?
What
Or-
the hell?
Are they boys? Are the boys going to
don't
grow
know.
up,
I
get into
don't
their
know.
20s, and go,
oh yeah.
okay,
All
I
right,
get it.
yeah.
Yeah, I get
Didn't
it.
we have a guy on the show once that was making his own signs with a girlfriend in Uzbekistan?
Was he a candidate for something?
No,
But
I think she was from Panama. She was from Panama.
She wasn't Uzbekistan.
Oh, it wasn't.
She was from.
No, wait.
She was.
I thought it was South America.
South Asia,
Philippines.
Polynesia, or something.
Philippines.
Yeah, it's over there.
Yeah,
Philippines.
Philippines.
This guy is, that old phrase, well, you'd leave your family on Christmas morning.
Okay,
That's
all
what
right.
this guy did,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Tipped
For
over in the
Uzbekistan.
kayak.
Investigators finally made contact with Borgwart in November and convinced him to come back to the U.S. He turned himself in at the Green Lake County Sheriff's Office on Tuesday, was charged Wednesday of this week with obstructing the search for his body.
That's a hell of a lake, by the way. It's a neat lake. So there.
Okay.
in
Only
national,
You ever
John, only
kayaked down
you.
it?
No.
Oh.
No.
in national and international headlines, national and international headlines. Latest Middle East news: an Israeli airstrike flattened a multi-story building in central Gaza, killing 25 people, wounding dozens more. The latest deadly strike hit the urban Nusrat refugee camp just hours after U.S. President Joe Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, told reporters in Jerusalem the recent ceasefire in Lebanon has helped clear the way for a potential deal to end the war in Gaza between Israel and Hamas. Latest from Malibu, we talked about the fire earlier this week. Firefighters there still battling the wind-driven brush fire in Malibu that prompted evacuation orders and warnings for much of the city and caused Pepperdine University students to shelter in place on campus for 2 nights. The Franklin fire was reported just before 11 o'clock Monday night in the area of Malibu Canyon Road, north of the PCH. The blaze has since grown to 4,037 acres. Containment stands right now at about 30%. At least 9 structures reported destroyed and another 6 damaged as of Thursday morning. The cause of the fire still is unknown.
I was reading my computer this morning, and I couldn't see.
Okay.
And I out of my good eye, and I thought, oh God, what's this? I couldn't clear them up. I kept blinking, and I thought,
Johnny apparently has had that same thing happen.
I said,
Yes.
Well, then I realized the lens had fallen out of the cheaters.
Oh, no. How long did it take you?
My cheaters are so cheap
How cheap are they?
that the lens fell out, and I thought I couldn't see.
Let me guess. When the lens fell out, did you start to squint?
Yes.
Thinking,
I thought, what the hell's going on here? Well, it turns out the lens fell out.
My glasses saved my eyeball yesterday, but now they're scratched.
That's too bad.
But I still have my
more
eyeball.
More about your eye.
No, I don't know what made me say that. I have bad
We were
cheaters.
talking about it off the air.
No, we weren't.
Yes.
You were.
Scan button, Chris.
No, you were talking about your lens. I didn't bring up my bad lens.
My back has been aching lately.
My dad's got 42 staples in the left side of his.
Yeah.
Are we talking to Patrick today?
we are, but I need to hear from Rookie about our fine friends at Welter Heating and Air
I'm done
Conditioning.
already?
Yes.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I'm
you
going
are.
to stop writing news for an hour.
No,
and a half.
you're
I'm
all
gonna-
right. You're
I'm
all
gonna
right.
go 15 minutes from now on.
You're okay.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, John.
I was going to tell you that before we go. I got to tell you because it's just fascinating. Sometimes, like Joe, when your lens falls out, a really neat trick is to walk up, say to your wife, and scratch your eye through that hole there and say, "So, honey, what do you think we should do for?" It's kind of fun. I've done that.
That's a neat trick. It's a personal trick.
That sounds like that comedy team of what Sam and Dave would do.
Bob and Ray.
Sam and Dave were
Bob and Ray.
R&B singers, Kenny. Yeah.
Well,
Sam and Dave.
Well, even though John has been silenced here now with his news, Welter Heating will not be silenced, and they would like to silence your heating unit, your cooling unit, if it's not working properly. They have over a century plus of experience. That's how many years they've been around helping out people in the Twin Cities here, and they've got generation after generation after 4 generations of Welter family. 612-825-6867. You can set that number aside, or just remember welterheating.com. Request an appointment online. They have 24-hour service, and I hope you don't have to use it. I hope you're smart enough to, if it needs servicing or it's making funny noises, do not leave that to, you got to take care of it right away. Right away. Don't leave it to chance. Welterheating.com or 612-825-6867. 'Tis the season. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas from the Welter family, Rick and the whole crew over there. They want you to heat up your shelter with the fine folks from Ray N. Welter. What's a Barrero?
What happened to our wild?
First of all, as we head towards Christmas,
Yeah.
and you're going into a weekend, I listened to the byplay before I came on. I would expect a man of your stature to receive a little more respect from the staff than he was receiving just now.
Oh, yeah. You want me to send you my? No, I'm not gonna. No, I'm gonna turn my mic off now.
Yes, the staff was not treating the old mayor with proper.
It's
respect.
good-natured fun, Patrick. We all know it's good nature.
I don't even know what you were saying.
Oh, good.
I was maybe
Christmas
speculating that I might get paid more at a different radio
I see.
show.
Yeah.
And Kenny, as a guy that worked for that conglomerate, no, you wouldn't be.
No, I know. Yeah.
You know, now to answer your question, you know what our problem is?
Uh-huh.
As Louis would tell you, we're missing too many man games. We're missing a lot of man games here, Joe. We now in Middleton, that's a man game. He only played 35 seconds.
Yeah.
There's like Brodeen's missing. He's the best defender they got, and then they're missing a couple other guys up front too. So there are a lot of man games going on here that we're losing, and I don't think Bill. I think that Louis gets home and he runs into Bill. He's got to give him a little seminar on how you count up man games to make excuses for any blips in the.
Let me make an admission to you. To this day, I still don't get what that means.
If you have a guy who you would think you would be playing, and he doesn't play, that's a man game lost.
Okay.
And then you add all those up, and you add them up. He was counting Gary Sargent's man games against the North Stars 2 years after Gary stopped playing. Basically, Gary was still getting 82 man games a year to miss. So the man game excuse was one of my favorites of all time. And the Herbie year, when they were a disaster and had 51 points, Herbie was complaining because they didn't talk about man games enough.
Dreisaitl's on a pace to score about 65 goals.
Man, he's good, huh? Mm-hmm. And Judd was telling me, I'm not an analyst of Draisaitl, but Judd was telling me he's a mean SOB too.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tough. Unlike McDavid's a big, strong guy, but he doesn't take many. He doesn't come over and get in your face quite like this guy does. I guess he's something.
Is Bedard what's Bedard's name for the Blackhawks? Connor.
Yeah.
Ask Judd sometime. Is he a bust? I wonder. Has he fulfilled his?
He was hurt last year.
Yeah, I know that.
I don't know if his. I don't know. Does he? Are they beating him up a little bit?
Because the Blackhawks can't. They're terrible.
No, they stink.
Yeah.
Yes, they stink. Quite a happy time for the Chicago sports fans.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears stink. The Blackhawks stink. The Bulls stink. The Cubs very mediocre, and the White Sox were one of the worst teams in the history of baseball.
Yeah, they really were.
So when we feel sorry for ourselves, it could be worse. Do you know that? Now this can't be true. But what I saw in the newspaper today was the Vikes are only 7-point favorites at home against the lousy Bears.
Really?
It's got to be more than that, though. It's got to be.
You would think so.
That's free money, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
Patrick, why do you do that to my squad? Why?
Hey, last time I gave you free money last Sunday, did I not? And told you. My prediction for the score was 38-16. It was 42-21. It was pretty close, 1 point off.
What's your prediction for this Monday?
Oh, nice, calm 31-10 win or something like that.
It's the Royce triple lock of the week.
So, Pat, we got to ask a question then. Since the mayor was in attendance for last Sunday and you did the skull chant in person, will you do the skull chant in your living room watching the game on Monday?
Why not?
You're our jinx. You're our jinx.
Why
you have
not?
to.
Yeah, I must be good for him.
He should be going to all the games now.
I had about a 20-minute period this morning when I was thinking I should go to that game tomorrow night, but then it passed. So
you mean the Monday night game?
The Monday night game, yeah, Monday night game.
You know what? Stay home because you're a jinx. And you would get too much happiness out of Chicago Bears upsetting the Vikings, so you got to stay home.
I think the last game I went to was when we made Daniel Jones a rich man, and they won the playoff game here and against Kirk and the boys. The game where Kirk decided on 4th and whatever it is to throw the ball 6 yards underneath the chains and lose the game. So
did you waste any time watching that game last night, L.A. and Frisco?
I turned it on the first half. They had a monsoon going, and it was 3-0. Then I turned it on. I watched about the last 10 minutes. Yes.
Who's the former Gopher who walked off?
Devondre Campbell.
He quit the team. He walked off the field.
Who's he with?
San Francisco.
Niners.
What do you mean? He just stopped playing?
Patrick, it reminded me of, remember when years ago when we had Rookie read the tweets from the African-American gentleman that had just discovered hockey, and he was astounded by what he was saying? It reminded me of the soundbite that we had Rookie do.
The goalie just said, F it, and left.
He just left.
So he didn't get hurt or anything?
Nope. He said, bleep
He
it.
just left.
Bleep it. I'm done.
I'm done.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the game got over too late for me to read any story on that. That's unbelievable. Wow.
Is today, are we discovering he wants back in?
I don't know. Well, Shanahan basically said, yeah, we're not worried about it, which means they're going to cut him.
Yeah.
So does he have a chance in the league then? Will he end up somewhere else?
Played
Not
with
this
Green
year.
Bay for
Yeah.
Johnny, wasn't he a Packer?
He was a
4 years?
Packer. He had a nice little 2-year run, I think, with the Packers.
Yeah, 2021 to 2023.
Yeah.
So you guys, well, go ahead, Pat.
Is he a fleck guy?
Yeah, he's a fleck guy.
Yeah, must
He
be.
played the fleck. But he, I'm wondering, is he a Minnesota kid? Is he I'm thinking he might be,
Fort
but I might be
Myers.
wrong.
Fort
Myers, and then
Well, he's spring training kid. Okay. Yeah, so.
Pat, because you remember the soundbite, it was the guy that had just discovered hockey. He was astounded by the fact that they pulled the goalie to try to score. He said, my God, the goalie just said F it and left.
That was the famous general manager, Eddie Holman, the former cab driver who was the general manager of the Muskies when they came to town here. The Muskies, they had a cab driver as a general manager. Maybe that's why they drew 500 a game. But he's the guy that said, this would be a lot better game if they didn't have that guy standing in front of the net all the time. Wasn't an expert on the sport. Well, that was my granddaughter when she was 5. I went over and they were playing on a quarter sheet and she was just skating around. And afterwards she was pouting. I said, "What's wrong?" She says, "You got that person in the front there, and she keeps stopping all my shots." I said, "Yeah, that's something you might run into here if you keep playing the game." That's kind of.
Are you going to go see the Lakers play?
Yeah, although no LeBron.
No.
LeBron, there's rumors LeBron might want to get traded again to a Golden State where he could win another championship with another team. If LeBron's with you and your team gets bad, he figures out a way to go to another team.
You mean this egotistical jackass that hijacked the franchise, made them draft his overrated kid, is now pouting and saying, "I want out."
Mm-hmm.
And the other
what
thing
a beauty.
is, if you trade for him, the rumor is you also have to get Bronny.
Oh, my God.
Really?
Who is running the show here, for crying out loud?
LeBron.
Yeah, I guess.
What
I
a
guess
jackass.
LeBron's goal is to be an owner, one of the owners of the Las Vegas. When they expand to Las Vegas, he wants to be one of the owners. But that's going to be $5-6 billion, to get expand. Probably $5 billion to get an expansion team.
I wonder if LeBron is any part of the whole Diddy mess.
I was just going to say, maybe he and Diddy and Jay-Z can buy
I
a team
wonder.
together.
I mean,
How does that kid feel about that? How does he live with himself knowing he can't get a gig without daddy?
Well, Ken, if he didn't have LeBron, he wouldn't have probably even got a scholarship in
Well,
college.
how do you look yourself in the mirror?
Because that check still cashes, baby.
Yeah, it's all about the money.
I was ranting again recently about the fact that they brought the Griffies in for
opening
LeBron
night.
and Bronny playing 4 minutes together. Junior made the team at 19 as one of the all-time greats in the history of baseball, and we're comparing him to Bronny.
Mm-hmm.
He brought his dad in, not that way. That drove me crazy when they did that.
Yeah.
But, hey, that's modern. That was, damn well that the TV guy, TNT or wherever the game on, was in on getting the Griffies there to try to make a big deal out of nothing.
Has Caitlin Clark disappointed you at all?
Not really.
With her claiming now she's only where she is because of white privilege, she drank the Kool-Aid.
She's trying to get a few less people to take cheap shots at her when she's up in the air playing basketball.
Yeah.
Plus, Joe, you know this. Pat's not going to take shots at Caitlin Clark.
Well,
he discovered her.
That's his girl. I mean, he discovered her.
I discovered her, and I'm still trying to get to make up to her for stepping on her cell phone. So that's that kind of hurt our relationship. That I put my. Luckily, I didn't put my full bulk on her cell phone, else we would have had that thing in 400 pieces.
I think I can put it together.
Yes.
Let me patch it up for you.
Can I help you there?
You got any?
I'll take care. I got some Gorilla
You got any
Glue.
transparent tape?
Yeah.
Double-sided.
Pat, we'll talk to you Monday.
All righty. Well, predate the game. We'll be ready for the big game Monday.
Yeah, that'll be an exciting sports talk to listen to.
Oh, boy.
I
The
mean,
Bears coming into town for Monday
that's
night.
the teaser.
Bah!
Yeah.
What is the safety man?
Yeah. All right, thank you. Thank
See
you.
you later.
See you later.
Thank you. See, I've been mentioning the Center of the American Experiment.
See you later.
Yeah, we were reading today about the autism fraud. They're on top of this, where many of the conventional news gatherers in town shy away. The Center of the American Experiment has been doing great work. They have programs. They bring in speakers. They have a great website. They do the Turkey of the Year. They do wonderful work, and most GLers are making the AmericanExperiment.org a daily stop on their interweb searches, because they always have some great news, and they understand this state is insane, and they're doing their best to mitigate it. It's one word, AmericanExperiment.org.
That's the wrong scramble. My God in heaven.
Yeah.
What happened here?
Oh, I'm sure you'll find it. There you go.
Finally. Thank God today is Friday. TGTI Friday. It's the scramble!
This was actually a story on the Care 11 website.
Okay.
And I'm surprised it was Care 11. If it was on Channel 4, it would not have surprised me, because they tend to be more inane than most of the other TV stations. Do inanimate objects feel wind chill? Do Lieutenant Dan have a leg in real life? Do inanimate objects feel wind chill? Well, first of all, inanimate objects don't feel anything. That's why they're inanimate.
Say your piece, and then I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, go ahead, because I'm done. There's nothing to be said about this.
Yeah.
This is as bad as it gets.
That's all it is.
What happens every December when it gets cold? What happens to your tires?
They lose a little air.
What used to happen before the advent of injectors to your carburetor and gas lines? What happens to steel when it gets really, really cold?
Do you mean to tell me
Shrinkage?
that you're so stupid that you think that's the result of those inanimate
Steel.
objects feeling something?
Steel shrinks in the cold.
It's a physical reaction that has nothing to do with feeling.
It hurts steel. You can hear it creaking. Your doors, they don't want to open. Your deadlock on your door doesn't want to close. Your windows become brittle. Plastic will explode. These things feel the pain of the cold. What are we doing living in this Siberia? This area is inhabitable, and yet we continue to live here. It's so miserable here that steel feels cold. Go ahead, dum-dum.
Wow, that's like a poem.
People will feel the cold. A railroad tie does not feel the cold.
But the rail does.
No, the rail might have a reaction, a chemical reaction that has nothing to do with having a soul and a brain and the capacity to feel. There might be a reaction for an inanimate in one of them objects.
Yeah, one of them deals.
You know what?
I know what you meant.
Oddly enough, that reminds me that one of my crepitations was named Cold Steel. You know, like a rainy night in Brooklyn. One of them was Cold Steel.
Cold Steel.
Yeah. That didn't go over as I thought it would.
You got the cold shoulder.
Yeah, I did. I really did get the cold shoulder.
So you're saying I'm wrong, huh?
No, I think that maybe there's a great deal of merit in this story, and I was too quick to find it.
Fight back. I don't like this, Joe. Fight back. Come on, give it to me.
There's a picture here of a gal, and she's got the bowl of soup that's cool.
Boys, I ruined our guy. I ruined him.
No, I think Kenny's right.
No,
these
Kenny's
things,
not right.
These things feel. Carburetors, apparently, according to Kenny, feel. And, well, that's why people talk to their engine. Come on, Betsy. Come on.
Come on.
So
start.
Help me out here, because for some reason I've been thinking about this a lot. This used to happen to cars where they just die going down the highway. I was a kid. I don't have a great memory of it. And we called it gas line freeze up. But it had to be the jets in the carburetor, right? Because of the moisture in the gas tank, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that went away with fuel injection, correct? Because I've never had that happen, but I remember being on a road trip with my dad where, hell, it happened twice on the way to Duluth.
People 30 years old have no idea how good cars are.
Oh, it's amazing.
You have no idea.
This big, giant truck I drive, I don't even have to plug it in when it's 30 below.
It's going to start.
It just, every morning, it amazes me. I'm stunned.
What's the great line in A Christmas Story? He's got to put the boiling water under the car.
Yeah.
That SOB would freeze up in the middle of the summer on the equator.
Right.
That's how bad it was. And is it just the fuel injectors, or is it the fuel? What is it?
Everything's better. The battery, the carburetor, the fuel making happener, the batteries, everything's better.
Yeah. Remember,
you know what else is? You know what else has gone by the wayside that used to be a routine part of maintenance? You never have to buy a muffler. Mufflers last forever.
That's true.
Yeah.
They last forever. They last the length of the car.
We better be knocking on wood when we're talking like this. What were you going to say, John?
Remember, when I was a teenager, I remember we always had old cars, and you're right, Kenny, it would just stop in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And you had to pour ISO heat. Remember they called it ISO heat?
Yeah.
It was in a can like this, and hey, take a gas can of ISO heat, hoping that nothing would happen then to your gasoline.
And that was like something that could have been from the 1800s that hucksters would sell out of the back of a wagon, right?
Like cough medicine.
Yeah, it'll cure anything from cars to coughs.
The problem, too, is if you don't put the muffler on your car, you're going to get this.
Okay.
His car has a miss, too, not just his helicopter.
Yesterday we were talking about we all miss crushed ice or crashed ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Darren writes, "Hail the Flashlight King."
Hail you.
While listening to yesterday's show as I drove my 14-year-old to school, we heard this segment on crashed ice. I am fairly familiar with this event. I participated in 2003 in Duluth and decided to give it a go at the first St. Paul event in 2012. I was 27 with 2 kids and another on the way and just starting my new business. Coming around a final corner in warm-ups, I landed poorly and instantly knew it was bad. I have attached a photo with my before and after x-rays. I had a nice hospital stay, some hardware in my leg, and a visit from the CEO of Red Bull. It is a great event, and it brought a lot of people into St. Paul. Would love to see it back, although I will not be participating, as my daughter, who was 2 years old at the time, is now 14, told me I could not sign up. We'll just have to stick with keeping our skates on the ice in the backyard rink. Happy holidays, Darren Olson. He did send me the picture. One is some bad bones, and the other is about, 14 pounds of hardware in there, nuts and bolts.
Wait, that was 12 years ago?
I was there. I had my hat on.
Wow. What do you suppose the Red Bull CEO said to him?
Sorry.
I'd love to hear about that conversation.
I don't know. Maybe they picked up the tab. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be nice if he cut a check.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
You're signing waiver after waiver after waiver.
Do inanimate objects feel wind?
They do not, Joe. They
wind
do
chill.
not. They do not.
What a wind chill at?
Only because I have a note now from the traveling linemen. It's good news. After these many months and appointments and tests, the doctors at the Cleveland Clinic told Jessica surgery is not required and to continue on with her life. We will be traveling soon.
Good.
How about that?
That's great. That's great
All
news.
right.
They've been in Cleveland for
A long time.
Yeah, a long
So
long
what you're
time.
telling me is they won't have to cancel Christmas.
No, and these come to us from the traveling linemen all the way from Cleveland. It was on this day,
Friday the 13th.
Oh, my birthday's in 10 days.
in 1882. Here it is again.
Yeah, my birthday.
No,
Yep.
the Northwestern Telephone Exchange began operating in Faribault with
right.
40
Oh, my
customers.
The first call place, too?
Hello?
Yeah.
Your town is so arrogant.
Boy, we did a
Sports
lot of
related.
things.
Sports related.
Okay.
On this day,
December 13th.
1994.
Don't tell me.
I'm not going to.
94. Oh, is this? No, it's not Wolves related.
No, the Great Storm
No, it's sports related. 94.
of Vikings.
Was it strike related?
41 zip.
Nope.
No, that would have been in January. Boy, December of 94. Give me the team at least.
Hockey related.
North Stars left.
Minnesota.
No,
No.
they had been gone.
That's right. That was 93.
Minnesota Wild went.
Wild didn't start till
Well,
2000.
if the North Stars left, what could have happened the next year?
Oh my God, was this when they? I don't know. I'm drawing.
Demolition began on Metropolitan Sports Center in Bloomington on this day,
Man.
30 years ago.
It
Was that
didn't go
sad?
well either.
No, I'm going to get to that. The first bombing attempt with a detonator button pressed by Michael Franzen, I don't know who that is, was largely unsuccessful, with much of the building still standing 10 minutes after the scheduled implosion.
And out came Frank with a sandwich. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, and Ricey walking around the press box. Should you be away from the group, sir?
Eventually, the structure was brought down with bulldozers and other heavy equipment. And I have some other notes on this infamous day in history regarding the Metropolitan Sports Center. Do you know what Metropolitan Sports Center was known for around the league?
Hot dogs.
Nope. We're not food related.
Terrible press box.
Nope. Well, they had a wonderful press
The
box.
female fan base.
It was known for having the best ice.
I suppose. Sure.
Yeah. Well, you were up here in the middle of nowhere with
They'll help
wind
me.
chill created feeling.
I swore off hockey when the North Stars moved and said I would never watch a hockey game again. Were we mad about the demolition, or were we still mad about Norm Green moving the team?
We're still mad about Norm Green, and we loved the fact that the building refused to die.
Yeah.
That was so awesome.
Okay.
I loved
that. Is pretty cool.
I remember being in there. The memories I take from that are being at the games. You could hear the crisp passes. The sounds of the game inside Met Center were fabulous.
Best tailgating in town. I would go down there and tailgate and not even go into the event.
No, it wouldn't happen just because of the way things have played out over the years, but that could still be an NHL arena. It was that good.
Easily.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Then why-
And they were planning on building a football stadium there, too.
Why'd we
How
tear
perfect
it down,
would
then?
it?
Well, you didn't have a team.
Well, but so what? You still had a good.
And they figured to lure a new team, there'd have to be a much better facility, even though that wasn't bad at all. So then, years went by, 6 years went by, and you get the new building in St. Paul, and the next thing you know, you got an expansion team.
The wild.
You know, and nothing was more festive than
It held 15,000 people.
a New Year's Eve North Star game, and then staying overnight at the Thunderbird Hotel.
I never did that.
Oh, blackout time.
Yeah, yeah.
You
that
don't
was-
even remember walking back to the hotel
I
room.
remember not remembering.
Yeah.
I saw so many groups there.
I was just going to say, give me a year and I'll throw a couple concerts.
Didn't
I saw
Mario
the
Lemieux
Stones. I
get
saw
in
Fleetwood
trouble?
Mac. I saw
Michael
the
Jackson.
Police.
Yep.
I saw Grateful Dead. Boy, on and on and on.
I walked out of the Dead concert there. I thought they were so
was
ridiculous.
it good? Was it the sound good in that?
Sure.
arena? Okay.
Sure.
Usher?
No.
Sure.
No.
No, I mean, some
None
of the
of
people
those-
that work there.
The
Usher,
problem is none of those Dead
Everybody.
fans knew how to hold their drugs. They couldn't take drugs. They were horrible at taking drugs.
The CP was pregnant, and I got worried. So we left after about an hour.
Is this when you put coats on her stomach?
No, that was Prince.
Oh.
Prince concert. The seats were too good.
I don't want the baby to go deaf.
Yeah, she also was pregnant during that concert. And our seats were too good, and I thought the kid would be born deaf from the bass vibrations.
He goes right to the worst possible scenario.
Well, I put my jacket over that
Oh, my
and the
God.
whole deal, and said, "We got to get out of here."
Hey, Frank Sinatra.
Saw him at the Met.
I was in the snobby section.
Yeah.
I've got family listening. I can't tell you what I was.
I got chunks
March
of guys
20
like you in my stool.
March 22nd, 1988.
Yeah, I saw that.
Would that have been it? That was
Yep.
Sinatra.
Yep.
That was where all the. Well, again, I better not admit to anything. But that was a good
Frank's,
night. Let me just say that.
It was Frank's birthday yesterday.
Yes, it was.
Joe, excuse me. The reason why
He'd
we
be
don't have gas.
101.
The reason we don't have gas line freeze up, and we should have known this, ethanol in the gas.
Oh.
That's why.
Duh. Yeah. So it's,
Yeah, and then if you're like me and you throw in some seafoam, it's never going to happen.
How come when I tried to burn the hump, it didn't melt?
I don't know, because I poured gas down a hill on a driveway and lit it on fire. The whole driveway burned up. It was so cool. It was the most redneck thing I've ever done.
That's awesome.
In other words, it got rid of the snow and ice.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it didn't burn the hump down. Oh, well, I'm serious. What factor of physics is at play there?
Not long. You weren't there long enough. You
Hell,
weren't there
I
long
wasn't.
enough to melt it.
Oh, yeah. I kept pouring
Why
it
don't you
on.
just get a flamethrower?
Those would be a fun
That would be
toy.
neat.
Well, you know a guy that's got one.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I do?
He comes in here about every Tuesday afternoon.
Oh, he's got one.
Oh,
huh?
yeah.
I don't
It's
think
his
he
maid's-
sells them.
No, he does not. But
No, but anybody can get them. They
Anybody
sell
can
them.
come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you.
Johnny, you can get me a flamethrower?
Okay.
Can I tell you this, too? Just one
No,
more
let's
thought.
not prolong the show anymore.
One
My
more
God,
thought.
More people have to listen to this.
Never mind.
I know. Thanks, Emily.
You don't have anything else?
I guess food workers in D.C. are going to organize and not serve the incoming Trump crowd.
You got to know when to quit.
But I'm thinking
I'm
you'd
just
be
backing
killing
up.
yourself because those people probably tip pretty well.
I got to go. There's a tornado coming. Or a helicopter. I don't know which.
Thank you, GLers.
That's the.
God. Sounds like my laugh from the old days.
Nope. Wrong one.
Why is it playing this?
Wrong one.
Here's the thing with the new YouTube system.
Sure.
ladies
A
and
lot of
gentlemen.
new stuff,
A
isn't
lot
there?
of new stuff and a lot of buttons that keep playing when you push the other button. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah. And
I got to go.
You people are a
Okay,
disappointment.
Rock.
See you guys.
Yeah.
See ya. Rook, have a good weekend.
GLers, sign up for YouTube. Don't at this point right now. I'm so pissed. I don't care if you do or not. But we're also on social media.
Bring
Follow
him
us
in on
along.
runway 29.
My God in heaven. Have a great weekend.